hanging out with Kip Katsarelis, lead producer on the SimCity reboot.
Yep.
And we are going to look at you guys have some footage, we're going to talk about it, kind of get a feel for what SimCity will be in this new era of the series. So I guess first of all, let's just hit the basics. It's a reboot. You guys have a new engine that sort of totally redoes everything you're used to in terms of how the city is represented. So if you want to just set that up a little bit.
Yeah, so Maxis is back at SimCity, building the next SimCity simulation game where you're the god of your own city, you're the mayor of your own city. And some of the things about this new SimCity, it is a complete reboot. We've really redesigned all the features from top to bottom, really listening to our fans and what they want. We started with our simulation, which is core to any SimCity product and really powered by our Glassbox engine. This is where everything in the world you see, we sim. Next, it's a beautiful model-like world that's really constructible. We've been inspired by tilt-shift videos, and so you're looking at this world through a tilt-shift lens. And then the big new feature that players have been asking for is multiplay. So we're really bringing friends, players together, connecting them up, so every decision you make at the city level has a rippling effect across your region into your neighbors.
Right. So walk us through the decision to go for the full reboot. Was it just sort of encapsulating like everything that you wanted to change about it? I know with Glassbox, and again, like the example I read was sort of like before when there was a traffic jam, you would see an animation sort of representing a traffic jam, but now the systems are so much more complex, like you're seeing the proper representation of like, oh look, there is the traffic jam, I see exactly what's happening.
Exactly. Yeah, so really gaming's changed so much since the last SimCity, and we really wanted to catch up, and we wanted to make this a very accessible SimCity, so anyone new to the franchise could just jump right in, but it's still, we're still targeting our core audience. So one of the ways we're doing that is, just as you said, everything in the world, you see traffic, it's happening in real time. Glassbox is allowing us to do that. You see crime, you're going to see graffiti on buildings, things like that. So everything's right there in the world. And then if you want to really get deeper into those systems, we've been inspired by Google Maps, and just data's so cool. We have so much information. We're displaying that in cool infographic ways. So everything's real visual and just easy to understand. No more spreadsheets, no more ledgers. It's just hop in, play, and get quicker to the fun.
Right. And I think that's something, there are those who love sort of diving into that, but in many ways, a new player gets in and it's easy maybe in some ways to get overwhelmed by some of the stuff in the past. So how do you make it easy for someone who's totally new to the series but gets the appeal of like, oh, well, of course I want to lord over this city? How do you get them into it,
Yeah, Maxis has been showing players how to play with life for years, and so everybody lives in a city, and you could actually connect to this, who doesn't want to be the mayor of their own little city? Right. And once you start seeing the city play out in front of you, you see the Sims. We're actually putting a little more gameplay into it with, it's not just an open sandbox, we still have that sandbox play, but we're also layering missions into it as well, so you're really responding to the wants and needs. You can see right there were Sims protesting the wants and needs of your Sims. They need power, they need water, they need education, but they want to go on vacation, they want some of the finer things, so it's kind of up to you to what decisions you make and how you build your city.
Right. And how much freedom do you have in terms of, let's say I want to not like stop time necessarily, but let's say I really want to focus on cleaning up one part of the city, but I've got, obviously everything else. Is that sort of always a gameplay challenge of like, okay, well, you're always going to have to keep the big picture in mind, or do you have the ability to sort of, okay, I want to, microsystems within your...
Yeah, there's actually quite a few layers. So there's that street view, you can see it right here. We've got crime, we've got fire that players are going to have to deal with. You could actually dispatch your firemen if you really want to get down there to the details and really put, like if you want to put out that fire. Then there's kind of that city planner, bird's eye view, where you're looking at the bigger picture of things.
Right.
And you can pause your game at any time, and it is an asynchronous multiplayer, so it doesn't stop your friends' games. They don't have to be playing at the same time you are.
Right.
And then now we're actually taking city planning to a whole new level with the multiplayer. So now you're playing in a region with your friends. When you create that region, your city, you could set it to public or private. You could invite your friends in, or you could go ahead and just jump into anybody's region and play with other people. But you're really planning at that city level.
So, yeah, let's touch on the multiplayer, I guess. In terms of visualizing this, I guess. So you have your whole own city, and your multiplayer friends are controlling neighboring cities, or is it more like you're all working together within the confines of the city?
Right.
How do you guys...
Yeah, you're in a region, and so there's multiple cities within that region, and there's just different region sizes. At E3, for example, we're showing off what we call our Friday night play session, where 3 players are playing in 3 different cities in a region, and they're actually collaborating on a great work. You can see it there, the international airport. And these great works are ways that cities could and players could work together on these big projects. That international airport, for example, brings in tourists because players could build very unique types of cities. We're showing off our tourism city centered around the sports stadium. I think we showed that off in a few of these clips here. And then we've got a very different city, which is a very gritty industrial blue-collar city focused on coal mining. And we're showing how those players are working together on those great works.
Is it possible to have the negative elements of your city start to take their toll on your friends' cities? Is that
so we're actually showing some of that off in our demo. So one of the industrial city is actually creating, they're rolling in the dough. They're making lots of money, but they're also creating a lot of pollution. So that pollution could actually spill out and affect your neighbors. It's also creating a lot of crime, and so criminals will actually spill out and go maybe rob your neighbor's banks. It's actually quite humorous.
So like they live in my polluted, horrible site, and they go and slum.
Exactly.
That's amazing. It's that kind of like sandbox experiences that I think always define like the single player experience before, where you're like, oh, today I've got this, I'm going to build this kind of city, or I'm going to build this, and now it's like, well, the dynamic between like, all right, well, I'm going to really mess with my friend and have like crime city over here, like, Gotham City, for lack of a better.
Exactly, and we're really introducing these goals and these different, goals for players, these unique cities that they could try to aspire to build. But it is still a game. It is still there's that sandbox element, and with Glassbox, with the simulation, you can now poke and play with the simulation more than ever, and it pokes back at you.
Right. So right now, the plan is that the multiplayer is on Origin, correct? So.
Yes.
Is it sort of play out like I'm playing single player and then someone joins in, or is it always kind of a separate thing? Like you've got your multiplayer city that you can work on, or you've got your single player city, or does it sort of merge between the two? How does that?
It's really, we're trying to build up an experience that's tailored to you and your game style. So again, if you set up that region and you just want to make it private, you could go ahead and do that, and you can play multiple cities by yourself, and you can play an entire region by yourself. Let's say one day you go, you know what, I have a friend, I want them to play. You're connected to Origin, you give them an invite, and they could hop right into your city. That's cool. So it's really mix and match, and really up to you how you want to do it. So
you could, in theory, prepare a whole system and be like, okay, look, I've set this up for us, jump in and try to save whatever I've already sort of set up for you?
Yeah.
That's cool. So what sort of classic stuff in terms of like things your city has to deal with in this series? I'm sure there's a lot of fan favorites in here. What sort of classic stuff's returning, and what sort of new stuff can people look forward to?
Yeah, so everything you'd expect as being kind of the mayor of your own city, you have to deal with supplying it power and water, those basics. We've really streamlined how those works.
Right.
So you're not laying every single pipe. Your roads are actually carrying a lot of the power for you.
Right.
You're going to see garbage problems. You're going to see water treatment. I think there's a sewage pipe that you could place in your city, and you could spill sewage out anywhere in the city, and it's just shooting it out. It's hilarious.
That sweet little part of the city where...
So a lot of the basics are there, a lot of things you're familiar with, and we've actually added a few new things. So we have a real wind map, so there's air, and it powers your wind farms, and it's not as consistent as you might think. We have real water tables. All the trees in the city actually will start to die once there's too much pollution or you stamp on them. We have finite resources, so things like coal and oil that you could actually take advantage of in your city and build entire industries around.
Very cool. So right now, are you guys, it's a Windows and Mac? Is it Windows focused?
Right now we're focused on PC.
Yeah. PC. And you guys have sort of a timeline for when we're looking for that, or is it just like...
Yeah, so we announced at E3 we're releasing in February 2013 on PC. And you can pre-order now on Origin. You can get more information on SimCity.com, and you could also follow us on Facebook or Twitter.
Very cool. Well, it's looking awesome, and as someone who's always been a fan of those types of sandbox games and stuff, it's like... It's exciting to get the update. It's exciting to see, and that new engine is like insane from what little I've seen of it so far. So I'm looking forward to sort of that development. So
SimCity's back.
Yeah. All right, guys, we are gonna throw to. I forgot what we're throwing to. So we're gonna throw to something. I'll be honest. I straight up forgot. I was looking at SimCity, and I don't remember.
Blew his mind.